Well, welcome back to the Quality Matters Daily Dive, brought to you by Texas Quality Assurance, where quality management gets simplified. So today I'm talking about continual improvement. Now, I'd love to say that this was all my idea, but friend and fellow consultant Chris Paris had a wonderful post this morning about continual improvement, and it kind of inspired me to talk about it today. So let's talk continual improvement. This is another one of the somewhat ambiguous, frankly kind of weird, and sometimes seems like a waste of time clauses of the standard. Now, before you get upset me saying continual improvement is a waste of time, I mean, the way it's written and defined in the standard sometimes can lead to a lot of wasted time and effort on our part unless we really think it out fully. So we're going to take that time to think it out a little more fully here. So let's start with talking about like what is continual improvement and how's that different from maybe improvement. So give me just a second here. I accidentally closed out a document immediately before I opened up my window here. So let me share my screen. So it doesn't matter how many times you do this, you always tend to mess up something last second. Let's see, is that the document I want? Or is that the, there we go. Sorry about that. All righty. So we have here, this is from the ISO 9000. So those of you that aren't familiar, you've got the ISO 9001 standard. Once upon a time, there used to be an ISO 9002 and 4 and a whole lot of other stuff, but all other story. The 9000 is the vocabulary that we operate from. So I figure if we're going to talk continual improvement, I'd best start with vocabulary. When we do our QMS bootcamp training, oh my gosh, day one, I have to apologize to everyone. Half of it is nothing but vocabulary, but we got to understand these terms. So continual improvement is recurring activity to enhance performance. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. So the process for establishing objectives, finding opportunities for improvement is a continual process through the use of audit findings, audit conclusions, analysis of data, management, reviews, and other means generally leads to corrective action. All right, so you've heard me talk before about how corrective action is definitely from the continual improvement clause 10 of the standard. So let's jump down here. And the ISO vocabulary backs that up. It's just such a shame that the way these standards are written doesn't line up as well as we would like it to. But in the improvement clause 10, corrective action, definitely there. So what the standard is telling you here, or the definitions are telling you, is that continual improvement can be met through a variety of means. This could be through establishing our objectives. Did we hit it this year? No. Let's make sure we hit it next year. Did we hit it this quarter? No. Let's make sure we hit it next quarter. What do we need to do? What do we need to change? What do we need to update? Opportunities for improvement through audit findings. So if you're doing your annual internal audit and actually making changes as a result of your findings, that's evidence of continual improvement. Analysis of data. You small business folks out there that are watching this, I'm telling you, analysis of data is not massive dashboards and analysis of data. What you're looking for analysis of data is your control of non-conforming outputs, but we are going to expand the scope slightly so that we're looking for non-conforming outputs in every process in our company, whether we're talking about safety, training, purchasing, sales, you name it. Someone does something that's against a requirement, we issue a non-conformance report. It's not a write-up. It's us monitoring our process. And if you do this consistently, then you can come up with all sorts of internal metrics of, how many sales deals lost were due to internal errors. And if you on a monthly basis review all your closed deals, you can come up with some really fantastic metrics. So my point being that our control of non-conforming outputs is huge there for monitoring and measuring. And monitoring and measuring is huge for continual improvement. Now, you might be wondering, like, Kyle, why harp on continual improvement so much? Well, the reason I'm harping on continual improvement is because I've been in a situation before when I was the QHSE manager, and my auditor insisted I have a log of continual improvement projects. I remember scratching my head like, the standard doesn't tell me I need that. I tried arguing with him about what continual improvement was and wasn't, but he had this own idea in his head. So what we wound up doing is effectively kind of go into the definitions here is what I would do before the audit is I'd print out, here's all the new employees we hired this year. Here's all the procedures that we edited and modified this year. Here's all the corrective actions we issued. Here's all of the analysis of my corrective actions. Here's changes we made in order to make sure we hit our objectives. And here's new services we offered and all these other things we did. Honestly, that took me about 30 minutes before the audit. And I was able to get him the log he was looking for. But there's no need to overcomplicate this. The fact is, continual improvement is baked into the entirety of the ISO 9001 standard. It just is. You can't run a compliant business without working to improve. Now, how much you improve, that's your call. That's your business. The auditor can't dictate how much improvement you make. They can only dictate that you're managing your business in a way that you respond to new opportunities, respond to risks, and make changes along the way. By the way, that doesn't mean risk-based thinking is a new process. It just means it is inherent to the way anyone runs a good organization. So let's take a look at just one last piece here. Let me throw it back up on the screen. So let's go down here to the improvement clause. So it says in 10 general, the organization shall determine and select opportunities for improvement. Again, this whole risk opportunities thing, not as complicated as we think it is, and implement any necessary actions. Okay, this can include improving products and services. Fantastic. So every time you do a work instruction that's slightly different from before and you did it to meet your customer's request, improvement. Correcting, preventing, or reducing undesired effects, corrective actions. Improving performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Your daily production meetings, again, your corrective actions. Reviewing your non-conformance reports, all the basic stuff we do on a daily basis, right? Then we come in here into the actual continual improvement clause itself. For as much time as auditors sometimes like to spend on continual improvement, it's really, really laughable because there's 3-4 lines in here. It's like next to nothing. The organization shall continually improve the suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness of the quality management system. The organization shall consider the results of analysis of evaluation, the outputs for management review. You know, they probably could have just copied the definition in here and said, you need to make improvements following the requirements of the standard. So it's really kind of a short video today. But the fact is that continual improvement just doesn't need to be this really complicated process. There can be, and this will be the last thing I have before I finish up today, you can take continual improvement to a whole new level. And it doesn't mean you're required to, but you can. And so something we did at a previous company is, this was long before the Measure What Matters book came out, but the ideas and the research and the concepts were there. And so I've been reading through it. And I remember coming to our next quality team meeting and saying, hey guys, we need to implement this. It's called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. You can go look it up if you want. We did a book review on it, part of the Business Visionaries book club a while back. Just search on YouTube, you'll find it. But I remember getting laughed at when I started talking about what Google does and OKRs and, coming in trying to sound smarter than I was. And I remember one of the production supervisors standing up and saying, Kyle, we just need to get blank done. And I was like, all right, we need to get stuff done. And said, okay, cool. Well, we're not going to call these OKRs. We're not going to call them any of that. We're going to call this our GSD list, our get done list. So that became another layer of our continual improvement, because these were things that were truly, fully improvement related. And it may be that we issued 3 or 4 corrective actions for each of these projects, because maybe we had a whole slew of documents to update, new documents to create, but it ran kind of parallel to our design and development process, which, by the way, design and development goes towards continual improvement. And so we did this so that we could keep up with some of these higher level, more broad reaching projects we had. And so once we did that, we just implemented adding that GSD list to my download of data literally 30 minutes before the author showed up so that he could see our continual improvement log. But that's it, folks. Continual improvement. It's really Just run your business well, run it effectively, and document it along the way. Can't get much easier than that. Y'all take care.